I get shit done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.
Hey, welcome to another session of the Business Renovator. I am Coach Phil. Welcome to the show, whether you're watching it live or if you're watching it on the replay. If you're watching on a replay, do us a favor, go hashtag replay. And I'm excited about having this guest friend that I met because of the pandemic. And he's an interesting dude. He's really well versed in filmmaking, and he's an expert in live streaming as well. And he's going to be talking about that when we come back. But before we get going, here's a word from my sponsor. Hey, welcome back. My guest, Bruce Himmelblau, is an expert in a bunch of things, but specifically filmmaking. Do you think I could find his bio? Hang on, here it is right here. He's an award-winning filmmaker with over 30 years of experience as a producer, camera, and editor. His background in advertising marketing has enabled him to create effective documentary-style videos for the web. He's highly touted live stream producer. As a producer of BSVP on site, Bruce and his team have covered film festivals, industrial conferences, and corporate events. And I met him in the early part of 2020. Bruce, welcome to the show.
Hello. It's almost 2022 right now.
I know how time goes so fast, doesn't it?
Yep.
Goes so fast.
So
I've learned a lot from you.
Thanks for having me on the show. Good to see you in person, virtually again.
Virtually in person again. Yeah, I remember the first time we met on Gittimer's show and had a conversation. It was going to be about 30 minutes. I think we talked for almost 2 hours. You're an interesting character. Done a lot of cool things.
Well, I was just kind of siphoning all of that business knowledge from you.
Yeah. And you got it all.
Yeah.
And everybody likes your hair. You have way more than I do.
It's always different every day.
Yeah, it is very stylish, very stylish. But we're going to talk about you and some of the secrets of using video in your marketing, right?
Definitely filmmaking and filmmaking tips, and definitely video.
Yeah, video seems to be a hot topic, right?
It is. It's a big thing is getting used to being on camera, because these days the teenagers with TikTok they're on camera all the time, but they're not trying to sell anything really. To start adding marketing as a business, those who are in control usually are more comfortable with maybe posting an ad or posting something that's pre-recorded. But the trick is to get comfortable being on camera and being natural.
And it is a learned trick. I've learned. I'm getting better at it. I haven't nailed it down like the presenters on TV who do it for a living. But I have noticed that, and I've had people, I think it's a compliment. They say, wow, you've really improved since the first time you went on live. Well, that's a good thing because I wouldn't want to get worse, right?
There's actually, I love this one quote. It's from the Dick Van Dyke Show. And if I knew you were going to bring that up, I would have brought the clip with me. But there's this one scene where the two kids, the children of Rob Petrie, who's Dick Van Dyke, are trying out for a commercial, or they're in a commercial and they're being shot as part of this commercial. And they actually do like 100 takes on this thing. And by the end of they just kind of say, okay, this is not going to work at all. And when they go back and tell their wives that that is not going to work, Millie Halper, who's a neighbor, says, you know, they're not professionals. And then Rob replies, yeah, I know. Professionals get better.
Yeah, I'm aligned with. Hang on, I'm going to find myself here on the screen. I'm here somewhere. There I am. Brian Tracy, who I'm affiliated with, he says the top 10% were once the bottom 10%. So you can't really get worse at doing something. Although I've said that to friends who play golf, and they claim that they have gotten worse playing golf more often. So I don't know if that's true or not. But
I suppose it is possible to over practice, at which point you need to just take a break and just step back and then recover and then keep going.
Going back to your point about getting comfortable seeing yourself on the camera, I totally can relate to that. It reminds me way back when I first heard my voice being recorded on a cassette recorder, and I said, that's not me. And everybody said, yeah, it is you. So the more you hear yourself, the more you see yourself, it gets a little easier all the time.
Yeah.
Have you got any tricks or things that you help others with?
Well, I did join Toastmasters. There's a local group here. They're called MSP, which is Midwest Speaking Professionals, which is not your typical Toastmasters group. Most Toastmasters, they have like these table topics, and they just kind of get you comfortable speaking in front of an audience,
Right.
And then cutting out all those ums and so's and those filler words. And I think I kind of got better at that. But with this group, we're designed for stepping up on stage and start getting paid for your speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a whole another level of speaking. One is being comfortable in speaking, and then the next level is getting paid in delivering that speech that people will resonate with. And so with both of those topics, it's just repetitive and practice, and finding someone who can bounce off of, so that they can give you constructive criticism. Because I think, as you told you in the beginning, the top 10% used to be the bottom 10%.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. When you're first starting out, you want that encouragement, like a child. Like you let them win at a game or two. But unless they're actually going to get really proficient at that game, there's a point where you start letting them win, and they have to work on their own.
Yeah, good point. I got a program. I got involved with a program. It's a certification to help speakers get on camera and get on stages, get on platforms to do exactly what you're talking about. And the training program for it was all done virtually, essentially. Although the individual whose company it is, lives in the same city as I'm in, but they used the platform for educating us as speakers. And you know what we had to do? Well, let me answer the question, because I know the answer. And that was that we had to video a presentation anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes in length, and then send it off for the feedback from our coach, our facilitator, our trainer. And one of the things that drove me nuts in the beginning of all of that was seeing myself on camera. Being on stage and talking to an audience of 5 to 5,000 people, you don't see yourself. You just see your hands, and you see what the audience is doing. You can find somebody to engage with. But when you're doing it this way, the closest you get to engagement is if you're in a room like a Zoom room, when you've got other people in there, you can see if they're watching you or not. I guess that's one way of getting the feedback. But seeing myself and my lips and my hair is crooked and everything else, that gets to be a distraction. By going through that training program, it helped me become comfortable being uncomfortable. So I got to a point of unconscious competencies, actually. Still,
and that's a big thing about being recorded and doing the Zoom stuff or here on StreamYard, is that we're looking at ourselves. Actually, if I actually look at myself, I'll be looking like this. So I'm looking at myself. And if I'm looking at you on the camera, I'm looking like this.
Right.
But the camera isn't down here. The camera is up here. And so the idea is not to look at yourself, and to kind of keep your person in your peripheral vision, and to be looking at the audience. Although when we're shooting video commercials, the last thing, and especially if you ever watch on TV, they're not breaking that fourth wall, which is the camera. They're always looking to the side. So in an interview situation, like on a 60 Minutes, they're kind of looking like this, or like this, slightly off camera, because they're talking to somebody and not directly to the audience.
Right.
And so that's a big thing about being on camera and doing something like this, where you're talking one-on-one to your audience, as opposed to telling a story and kind of promoting your product.
Yeah, your product, your idea, or your service. Yeah, absolutely. Totally get that. One of the things I struggled with early on, and you gave me some great feedback, and one other gentleman did. They said, your message is good. I think you even said that. But look at the damn camera, Phil. You want to look at the audience. So
Yeah.
I'm getting more comfortable looking at you, the audience. It's a learned trait. And I still do this occasionally. But it gets better with time. And like you said earlier, repetition.
Well, actually, the great thing is that we're working with a number of clients where I'm the person behind the scenes. And so when doing a one-man show like this, you've got to be the lever puller and the button pusher and have everything queued up. But by having someone behind the scenes like myself, I'm the one who's off camera, and I can pull up a clip here and there without having the host being distracted.
And I've had the pleasure of to experience that as a viewer of the show, because there's a couple of shows that you that I know you're involved with or have been involved with, and I think one's coming back to the airwaves next year, or maybe this year. This one's tomorrow, maybe.
No, so this next year.
Okay.
We're rebooting the show. Most of the shows I'm doing are rebooting in 2022. They're just taking the holidays off.
And what I liked about those shows that I've seen you in the background, because I haven't seen you, but I know you're there because things are popping up. They'll say something and boom, there it comes. It fits right in. Whereas you're right here. I'll be in a train of thought and oh yeah, I want to share something. For example, maybe I want to share your website. So notice my eyes are going off camera so I can share this website. So now it's there. I can come back onto the camera. And this is just one of your sites. Maybe you want to boast.
Well, this is my main site, which is bsvp.com. And the reason why it's bsvp.com because back in 1998, when we got on the interwebs, blueskyvideo.com was already taken. And so we just went with BSVP. And it's really great because now when you enter forms, it's like contact@bsvp.com as opposed to contact@blueskyvideoproductions.com. We have to spell out the entire word. So I think having a 4-character domain name is very rare these days, if you haven't already gotten it. But there is a lot of information on there. And this is my Facebook page.
Correct.
But actually, on my main channel, we have this one page which we call resources, and we have a lot of great resource for businesses who want to either learn how to do their own live streaming or who are looking for tools to help them with their live streaming.
You go back to your main site. I think there's a pop-up there. I'm probably not going to get it because
if you scroll down to the right where it says live, actually
keep going.
Yeah, these are my blogs. And actually, if you scroll back up real quick, this is an interesting story. No, keep going the other way. I'm sorry. Towards the bottom.
Down? The bottom. Okay.
Go back up a little bit more. There you go. This guy, Garrett Brown. I'm pointing at the screen like you can see me.
I knew where you're going.
So this is one of the very first interviews I did on camera. This guy name is Garrett Brown. He invented the Steadicam, which was used in the very first Rocky movie. And he was the guy who's running up the stairs with Rocky as he's doing that famous run. He's on the camera, and he basically developed the Steadicam for that movie.
So the Steadicam, is that like the gimbal as we know it today?
It is a gimbal. He's basically the predecessor to anything we have today, the gimbal. But the Steadicam is a body unit with a full-size film camera on it, where you can actually walk and run without it shaking.
Yeah, cool.
And so I basically walked up to him like I had no idea who he really was at the broadcast convention and asked him if we can talk. And as we started talking, I realized that he not only developed the small handheld gimbal, but the full-size gimbal.
That's interesting. I think you knew that I picked up a gimbal for my phone just for fun more than anything else.
Mhm.
It's amazing how a few live streams I've done or videos I've created and shared, certainly not to the caliber of yours, but being in a park and having a conversation with a live stream, holding the gimbal, it really steadies the camera. It's much better than a selfie stick.
Yes.
That's
Well,
so-
if you don't have, basically what a gimbal is kind of like a steady. I mean, it keeps everything what you'd be with like this. That little motion that because nobody can have. If you can notice my hands moving slightly, no one's really can hold their. But with a gimbal, it's more smooth. It's a lot smoother.
It's like a gyroscope kind of thing, right? Concept.
And that way you don't get seasick walking.
That's right. Yeah. And people watching your video don't get sick because your arms bouncing up all over the place. I'm really aware of that now that I've played around with a gimbal for a little bit. When I watch somebody's video and they got a selfie stick and their arms going up and down, and
Yep.
so, well, you don't see their arm going up and down, but you see their videos going up and down.
Yeah. Although a selfie stick is better than just holding the phone by itself.
Yeah.
Because there is a little bit of cushion between you and the camera with a selfie stick.
Cool. I'm going to show one more of yours, well, two more of your sites, just so people can see some of the stuff you've done. We met, I said, in the early 2020, in the onslaught of what we're in, the pandemic, and had a great conversation. And we've been hanging out with each other and a group of other great people in the Mega Minds. I want to go to your LinkedIn page right there, because if people wanted to find out how to get your services, these are a couple of places to go: Facebook, LinkedIn, your own website, and I'll eventually go to the YouTube channel. There's your company name right there, Blue Sky Video Productions.
And I think I am the only Bruce Himmelblau on LinkedIn. So as
Be easy
opposed to Jeff Smith.
Yeah. Well, I actually even Phil jokes there's more than one. There's several. I was surprised.
Also, run real quick. If you see the little button next at the tail end of my name, that little speaker thing.
Right here?
Yeah, no, it's a little speaker. Yeah. So I'm not sure if you've got sound turned down.
Himmelblau, video producer and YouTube content marketing strategist, taking your brand from unknown to inspiring.
So there's a trick for all of you LinkedIn people who haven't used it. And Bruce shared that. And that wasn't even video, that was audio. So good for it.
Yeah, so basically what that is, it's designed for name pronunciation if you've got a difficult name to pronounce.
Yeah.
But you've got like 10 seconds. And so if it takes less than 10 seconds to say your name, you can add kind of a little bit of background, little sales pitch, a little bit more content of who you are.
Exactly. I'll play it one more time so people can get the whole message here.
Bruce Himmelblau, video producer and YouTube content marketing strategist, taking your brand from unknown to inspiring.
You get quite a few words in a short period of time.
Yep. And the one trick about that is only accessible through your phone app. You can't record that message on the desktop. And I don't know why that is, but you need to go through the phone app to record the message.
Yeah. And then this one here is, this is kind of 971 subscribers. So if you liked anything you've heard Bruce talk about, please go to his site and subscribe.
Well, my goal for 2021 was to get to 1,000. I may be a little bit shy of that, although we do have two more days.
That's right. And you just never know.
So, but then again, it's an arbitrary goal, and I know if I don't hit it this month, I'll definitely hit it next month.
And then I'm going to share another site here. There we go.
Yeah, so this is my beginnings, music and film, and in covering both concerts and film festivals. And so I actually had a chance to sit down with Lou Gossett Jr., who's an Academy Award-winning actor, and Morgan Spurlock, who's an Academy Award-winning documentarian, who did that Super Size Me movie. And Andi Timoner, that's the woman in this middle there, she did a movie which was really fascinating and ahead of her time. It was called We Live in Public. It was shot in December of 1999 in a bunker in New York. And they spent an entire month in a bunker all by themselves and with like 100 cameras, and every single second was recorded. And she took all that footage, which was basically a commentary about how public our lives are and how we share everything. And this was over 20 years ago. It then took her 10 years to edit the film. And so it came out at Sundance in 2009. And she won Best Film at Sundance. And so we had a chance to sit down and talk to her about her experiences in the film.
So,
And so that's our Indie Film Nations, and we're looking to reboot that. The other two images there on that bottom line is, I think it's Josh Ritter, who is John Ritter's son.
uh-huh.
And then Condence Marks, who directed the film Being Elmo, or was it Being Elmo? And we actually got to meet Elmo in person.
Oh, very cool. So your buddy who was in, how many years did it take her to get that edited?
10 years.
And she won an award?
Yeah, but there were thousands and thousands of hours of footage, or video footage to go through. And the main concept was centering around this one gentleman who basically put cameras in his apartment and with him and his girlfriend, and they just recorded everything.
So she was like one of those overnight successes, whether you be an author, a singer, writer, filmmaker, right? Overnight success, only took 10 years.
Well, actually, she actually won Sundance twice. She's one of I think the only person ever to win the best film at Sundance twice.
Wow. I've done a little bit of editing, and I get frustrated after, an hour or two. And it takes a special individual and a special talent, I think. I couldn't imagine staying on task for a project for 10 years on editing. That's why it's great that there's different people in the world to do different things.
And then this is my show that I've been producing, BSVP Onsite Biz, where we talk to business leaders and to get insights. Kind of similar to your program, where you find interesting people and you do a deep dive on their successes, and getting tips and tricks and secrets out of them.
And one of the strategies is to find people to be on your show is to ask. One of the things that people ask me, they say, "So you've had a couple hundred shows. How do you get people?"
Mm-hmm.
I ask, right? If you don't ask, you don't get.
Yep.
And you don't always get a yes to it, but you don't ask. If you definitely don't get a yes if you don't ask.
And then here's the concept of our show, or this conversation, is using video for your business.
Right.
And so we've done everything from TV commercials to this is the other ones. This L.R. Gregory is a local roofer and air conditioning and heating guy. And so we did a short video for him, and it only has 500 views on it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's getting out there because when people look for you, they do most of their shopping before they pick up the phone to call you. And if you've got a video on your website or a video on YouTube, they're going to watch those videos before they call you, because they want to see who you are, what you do. And if you have video testimonials, those are super strong, because one of my favorite sayings is, if you say it, it's bragging, but if your customer says it, it's a testimonial.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. In my sales training program, I say something similar. If you, the seller, say it, it's a claim. If the consumer who's used your service says it, it's a fact. And people lean into the fact. I mean, anybody could say anything about anything. but is it
Yep.
accurate? Is it truthful? Could you take it to a court of law and win your case?
There you go. And so let's, what else we have?
Hey, just before you do that, going back to your roofer kind of guy, and you said they use video to show people what they do. It's education-based content as well as the testimonials, isn't it?
Yep.
Like what I work with in my clients is I help people answer the question that their ideal target audience has, and that is, what's the problem when we're looking for who our ideal target audience is what's the problem that they have that they don't want, and what's the solution they're looking for that they're struggling to find. And video can help. As you say, they do a lot of legwork in order to make that happen.
Yep, definitely.
Jim, I have a buddy whose name is Jack Gregory, but he doesn't live in Chicago.
And so this is just and also the key is being the filmmaker to get your subject comfortable on camera, so that it feels like they're talking in a conversation like this, as opposed to being on camera, being the subject.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do, is we work with a lot of non-professionals who have a business to run, but who aren't experienced on camera. And so that's probably my biggest skill, is to get them to feel comfortable on camera. So this basically, we just talked for maybe like 10, 15 minutes. And from there, the documentarian editor in me pulled out those sound bites that worked. And then we cut it together. And I can just maybe turn down the sound as much as you can. So then we cut it together with what we call B-roll, which shows you, because it's always better to show rather than tell. And so so basically he can be talking about a rotting roof and how he fixed it, but to actually see it, it personalizes it, and you get the better idea.
Yeah. And it's more factual again. If you've got an image, the video to support what it is you're saying or claiming, it's now no longer a claim anymore. It becomes factual.
Yep. And then the biggest thing that people forget to do is a call to action at the end of the videos. Because basically what they do is they produce a video and it says, here we are, we're great. And then they said, thank you for watching.
Yeah.
As opposed to, and if you ever watch commercials, you'll notice there's a call to action, or CTA, which is pick up the phone and call, or visit our website, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. But you don't want to throw all three of them at the same time.
No,
because they may do one, but they won't do all three, and they may actually not do neither, because it's like, what do I do? Do I pick up the phone? Do I call them, or do I just watch more videos?
one of the ones we use and recommend on a regular basis is to have in the call to action is to have them subscribe by sending either to a landing page, and going there, they get a buyer's guide or 13 things you need to know before you make a decision on hiring a roofer.
Yep.
Or the 21 things, whatever it is. So they can do a shopping comparison sort of thing as well.
And then this is my biggest fan, because we made them the most money. So in this instance, he had come to me to do some testimonial videos, and he was real busy. So he just said, here are the names of the people I want you to talk to. And he sent me out to talk to them. So, and then we went out and talked to 6 of his favorite customers who we helped close big deals for. And then from there, he's posted them on his website. He added them to his email conversations with a client that helped him close a couple multi-million-dollar deals. And he spent a fraction of that on the actual videos.
That's brilliant. That's really good. A few really fabulous tips on how you can use video in telling your story and supporting your story on your product and services. That's brilliant. And a picture tells 1,000 words. How many words does a video fill in?
Well, actually, the mind processes 3,000 images, or was it 3,000 images a second?
Pretty fast.
Well, maybe they're exposed to, I think they're exposed to 3,000 images a day. but they process images faster than they process words. And if you can, and then also there are different ways of learning.
Yep.
So that if you're a auditory learning, videos that can do that. If you're a visual learner, video can do that.
Yep.
And if you're a textile learner, well, you can give them a phone to hold on to while they watch the video.
That's right. But you're engaging all the senses, or more of the senses, with video, because you don't just see it, you hear it. And if the video is done right, it puts you in the situation, in the scenario, in your subconscious mind. And that's why they put kids in playing with the toy, and the camera angle is as if that kid is in the room with them playing with the toy. I learned that a long time ago. Anyway, man, 30 minutes really goes fast.
It does.
But that was a number of tips for those of you who are watching. I want to thank you for being on here. People know how to get a hold of you. We shared a bunch of content there. Let me just do one more thing here to help people know where to get hold of you.
So I'm basically BSVPTV across everything.
Yeah, and this is one of the favorite places that they can go watch and learn more about what you're up to, what you've been doing, if they want to see a sample of your work. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got in the 30 minutes. I could ask you a zillion other questions, but not in the time we have left.
Well, call me back in like 3-6 months. We'll have to do this again.
Let's do that. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a friend. And thanks for giving me some tips over the last almost 2 years ago. Been getting tips from you on and off about how to show up better on the video for me. So I appreciate you for that, among other things as well. So thanks for being here, Bruce.
Great.
Well, that's a wrap for another edition of the Business Renovator. A wonderful guest, Bruce. He's very good at what he does. If you're interested in learning more, go to his website and get his booklet on how to use video in your business. Again, if you liked what you heard and think there's somebody in your world that has a message that's worthy of being heard, make an introduction. Happy to have a conversation with them. Let's help them get known out there. And one last sort of thing I'd like to share with you is a mentor of mine many decades ago introduced me to this concept. The U is deliberately big and a U instead of an O because it represents you. So you go out and be wonderful because you are unique. Until the next episode of the Business Renovator, I'm Coach Phil.
I get shit done, I have fun, it's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking